Good evening, everyone. It's Christopher Hale here in Rutherford County in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, candidate for United States Congress in the 4th Congressional District. Here again of our nightly live stream and nightly broadcast. Tonight we're talking with Mr. Bill Elder. Bill is the owner of Shenanigans, a restaurant in Sewanee, Tennessee, in Franklin County. I actually have a lot of experience with Shenanigans, both in recent history, but also in youth and childhood. I used to be a tennis player. Pretty good. We won the state championship my junior year of high school, and it was very competitive. And every summer there would be a summer tennis camp down in Sewanee at the University of South with Coach John Shackelford, Coach Shack. And at the end of the days, we go to Shenanigans and hang out and have fun there. And in recent time, I've gotten to go there during my trips down to Sewanee. It's a vibrant place. Bill Elder took over the operation in 2014 and really has created a renaissance at Shenanigans. And we're going to talk to him tonight about what's going on in the restaurant industry and the small business industry in the context of COVID-19, what the government's doing to help, what's going well, what is not. A few coming attractions ahead, just a few announcements this Sunday. I will have Trey Crowder, who is the famous Tennessee comedian, affectionately known as the liberal redneck. And he's going to tell us what he thinks how a 31-year-old Democrat can win an election in rural Tennessee. Later this week, tomorrow, we have a Franklin County farmer, Jess Ellis, on. And then on Thursday, we have Matt Ferry, former chairman of the Rutherford County Democratic Party and a state House candidate. So a busy week. The fundraising dollars are coming in. We've raised dollars from over 1,500 folks in 48 hours from Mountain City to Memphis and from Fairbanks to Miami. People are stepping up to our campaign. Scott Desjardins is upset. He's being kind of a snowflake about it. He does not like that he's being held to account. But that's what we're going to do, and we're going to win this election. But I want to introduce Mr. Bill Elder and talk to him. And so, Bill, I believe we have you on. Can you hear me, Bill?
Yeah. How you doing, Chris?
We're doing great. Thank you for being here. Bill, can you give us a little bit of introduction of yourself, your background, and what brought you to purchase Shenanigans in 2014 to become an owner, and how things are going right now?
Yeah, well, I guess a short history. I grew up in New Orleans and Little Rock, Arkansas. I grew up coming to this mountain up here in the Cumberland Plateau in Tennessee, going to Shenanigans pretty much every day of my childhood. I've always liked to say I've spent more time in there than I'd care to admit. It was just always a community landmark, community icon, a place where everyone gathers, absolute nexus of all different peoples, colors, creeds, religions, everything. It was all, it's always at Shenanigans all the time. And it was closed down for a couple of years, and I'm actually a musician by trade, and I've spent my life traveling around the world playing soul music for 15 years, and then I wasn't quite ready to get into the next project when I learned that Shenanigans was still closed and possibly could be ripe for getting reopened. And then me and a good friend of mine who was a Sewanee grad and a guy that I grew up with here in Monteagle in the assembly here, which basically is just kind of what drew us all to this area and basically gave us our inroad to Sewanee and Shenanigans as well. Knew that the universe was not right with Shenanigans not being there, and so we decided to bring that back. And yeah, that's just kind of the short story of it all.
And Bill, can you give me a sense of what COVID has done to your business, to your operation, and how you tried to respond in the past 2 months? I guess now we're dealing with this, and what's happened, and how are you responding to it?
Well, in a small town in a rural area is very, very different probably than what's happening in large metropolitan areas. But when everything hit the fan in mid-March, it had the global effect on all independent restaurants in urban areas and rural areas as well. And yeah, it completely smacked us on the ground immediately. with regards to us being able to even be open. Tennessee governor put us on obviously a restrictive ability to have takeout or delivery options only. And then I think towards the end of April, on the 27th, actually, they lifted that restriction to allow dine in. But yeah, the obviously the effect was was extreme. We went from our best year ever down to doing 10% of what we normally would be doing, and sinking tide sinks all ships. So it's not worth anyone really complaining, because this is affecting everyone in horrific ways. But obviously, people have to eat, so restaurants are trying to stay open for that reason, to serve their communities, and that's the reason why we've tried to continue to serve people uh, through takeout and delivery, and now we're trying to figure out the dine-in situation.
Well, and I want to ask you, what means of relief have you sought? Did you seek a PPP loan? Did you seek kind of any kind of business loans in terms of to bridge you through this storm as you've talked about it?
Yeah, yeah. The PPP loan we applied for the first time and did that through a big bank, and that was a nightmare. Apparently, all of the big banks served their really large clients first, and of course, there were reports all over the place of national chains getting insane amounts of money, most of which, thankfully, have decided to return that back, as that was designed for the smaller businesses to be able to retain employees and be able to pay some expenses while everyone's just in total limbo. Um, so yeah, we applied for that. It did not go through the first time, and so then I went through my local bank up here, which is Tower Community, and immediately was able to make it happen. Thankfully, they had a direct link to the SBA, whereas in the larger bank just had hundreds of thousands of loans that they were trying to process. So yeah, we were able to make it work. However, there are lots of problems with how the PPP loan is set up. First of all, there is an 8-week period of time that a business has to spend whatever portion of the loan that they want to be forgivable. They have to spend that on payroll or rent or utilities or something or other. But you're talking to a whole lot of businesses. We're lucky in that we've been in an environment that we felt like it was safe to at least try to be open in some sort of way. But you're talking to independent restaurants that do not have the ability to be open, and yet they get this loan, and then they have 8 weeks to spend money on a business that they can't even have open. So there's the National Restaurant Association that's trying to fix that, and two or three other items about how, and I hope that they will fix those kind of glitches and how that whole thing was how that whole thing was put together.
What strikes me as interesting about it is that, okay, so you have to make up jobs then essentially, so to pay this off. So you're kind of inflating a work task to forget the loan. So I mean, you can only mow the grass so many times.
Right.
That's shenanigans. And so you'd like to see the extension from the 8 weeks going forward. What else? I mean, so I was in shenanigans, I guess, about a week ago. You spent a significant amount of resources to abide by the new norms of social distancing. How much out of pocket, you don't mind me asking, have you spent to make it compliant with the new norms we're existing in?
Well, we're doing new things every day, and probably you were there the day that we were installing a speaker system around the whole restaurant, so that we could be able to call numbers out that people outdoors could be able to hear. Well, that just required a whole lot of rewiring. It required new speakers. It required new equipment trying to do that, and that was about a $3,000 to $4,000 operation there. I'm getting brand new screens all over the restaurant so that we can keep windows open and be able to create airflow. So, that's another thousand or so dollars. I really am trying to accentuate, especially since we're getting into warmer weather. I want to accentuate our outdoor seating and be able to put shade over our upstairs deck, be able to have outdoor seating areas that can just stay out there permanently with like umbrellas. All that stuff is very expensive. So yeah, I think what you're getting at is that it would be great if there was something with the government relief program that would, help operating costs, and also something that could help people build things that were specifically for the reason of providing a safer environment for employees and customers.
If you think about like the government told you to shut down, rightly so. They told you to shut down. They said, you can't operate in this economy. It seems like they should put some of the bill for getting you back into business. And what's interesting to me is that the new CARE Act, the Heroes Act, that Scott Desjardins did not vote on because he got himself a knee surgery during a pandemic. He that bill, one of the provisions of it would be essentially to have a PPP loan for social distancing measures that people will take. You're spending a significant amount of capital on that, and right now you're paying out of pocket. I assume, and that's not forgivable to any bank or any organization or any government. So you're eating that cost. You're eating that cost when your revenue's down 90%. I imagine there are restaurants. I know there are restaurants in Franklin County that have shut down, and are not coming back because
Yeah.
of what's happened here. So as we kind of go forward, I'm running for United States Congress. What do you want to see from me? What do you want to see from your elected leaders in terms of being involved in understanding the realities on the ground for Tennessee small businesses, particularly for restaurants as well?
Well, I've really been impressed. Like, I've obviously been reaching out for any collaborative group that it has a voice, and the NRA, not that NRA, but the National Restaurant Association has done a really good job of picking out all these concerns. I brought up one point. There's two or three other ones that are like exactly the thing. So working with groups like that, and then there's a brand new one that actually a Sewanee graduate, Harry Root, has been instrumental in being a part of founding this thing. It's the IRC. I can't remember what it's, the Independent Restaurant Coalition, I think is what it's called. And they're another group that is actually having direct connection with these smaller businesses. So I would want, especially an elected official to work with these groups that are definitely looking out for the mom and pops, for the restaurants that don't have multiple locations, that especially the small business restaurants that are so much a part of the community that they're more than just a place to eat. I'm not saying that I necessarily need a legislator to be out there just getting a bunch of government handouts for me, because honestly, I'm not really trying to take a lot of these handouts, because they are in the form of loans, and I feel like shenanigans is going to make it no matter what. And uh, we'll weather this storm one way or the other. But I do think that there are groups that are identifiable that lawmakers can work with, that don't necessarily have to all be about what can the government just give me over and over, what can I take, but to convey the ideas of what is needed on enacting policies, especially, and one of these things is the forgivable part of the PPP loan. I mean, no business owner that is in a profitable business, which shenanigans is, wants to go into more debt. And the PPP loan is a loan, and this all these new guidelines for what is forgivable and what is not forgivable. I'm watching that very, very, very closely, because I don't want to be in debt. So I would like my lawmaker, especially with these giant government programs. I'm very, very happy that those programs have been enacted. Our lawmaker to be very specifically looking at the needs and then the restaurant business is just one area of the economy, but working individually, as it sounds like you're doing, to say these are the policies that make sense for these small businesses. And not necessarily, I'm not one of these guys that just like looking for all the handouts and this, that, and the other, because we can make the we're small business owners and entrepreneurs because we rise to challenges. So we don't like to be in that, position of, we just, anyways, I'm going off on a tangent now, but hopefully I've answered your question. It's just like working with the people, working with the organizations that clearly have a connection and the finger on the pulse of the true needs of independent businesses.
Well, and I want to go on that. I want to go on the particularly local context. Shenanigans is an institution that belongs to the community. I talked about, even as a child, I knew Shenanigans, and Shenanigans was a part of my experience. I never lived in Franklin County. Um, what is the community reaction been? And how they've stepped up? How has Sewanee, how has the wider Franklin County, Grundy County community stepped up and helped you get the revenues to make it through these really difficult times?
That's a real good question. Um, a couple of things. First of all, there's a great group in Sewanee called the Sewanee Business Alliance, ironically, the SBA, and they put together a kind of a fund, or I guess a fundraising campaign, because so many people, like you said, love Sewanee. There's so many alums. There's so many people that this place has touched. Shenanigans and other businesses alike, and they put that thing up. And people have been very generous in donating to that, just to say, please just give this to the businesses of Sewanee. So that's been really cool, because that's just an independent thing. It's not even tax deductible, and these people are stepping up because they know that we are in an absolutely tiny, tiny little town, and they appreciate the nuance and the specialty of what's going on there. Um, yeah, that's excellent. And then, of course, all of the people that live in Sewanee have, I mean, all of the ones that I have seen have really, really tried to order takeout, order delivery, come in when they can, as uncomfortable as it may be, wearing their masks, doing whatever they can, like buying gift certificates, buying $400 gift certificates just to help us out, tipping 30, 40, 50, sometimes 100% on things. So people, yeah, I mean, the community has really, really stepped up and done those things. And at the very least, it just means a lot, as from a benevolence factor, just to say, we're with you. This is just a little something. So, you just feel like you're in it with everyone else in Sewanee. It really does feel that way.
And I now have a question on social media. This is from Greg Swanee93. What is it like to have a Swanee without college students there? And has it changed the community in a way that is expected? And also, do you know anything about whether or not the kids are coming back in September?
Okay, yeah. Everything is weird without the university in session. Sewanee is built around the university. Most of our, well, I would say 60% of our employees are college students. A lot of what we build our events and specials and everything around is built around the university schedule and all the sporting things. So yeah, man, it's just like everywhere else. The only word for it is just weird. The thing that's been encouraging is a few of the students have found a way to stick around and stay and work at Shenanigans. I've got one girl that drives up from Nashville 3 times a week to work a double shift just because she wants to stay connected. We've got another couple of employees that have talked the university into letting them stay through the summer in their off-campus housing. But yeah, it's really strange not having the student. Of course, right now is the season when we would be going into um, a summer season where it's a lot more vacationers, not necessarily so much about the students being in session. But yeah, I mean, it's just a drag, man. It was just like Shenanigans is where it all happens in Sewanee. It's where all the college students come several times a week. And especially like the other night when graduation was supposed to happen, we always host a party for the seniors where every single senior uh, from Sewanee basically comes to shenanigans, and I come up and I'm like, I'm not leaving until the last person is gone, and I'm always there till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and that didn't happen. And so, and that's what we always put on up on our Facebook page for the next year. So yeah, man, it's the whole thing is just surreal. So to whoever's asking about what's it like without the Sewanee students, I would just say it's weird, and it's probably just that way everywhere else. And since we've started having dine-in and some like Sewanee professors coming in, and even when we started having other people come in at the very, very beginning when we opened our doors, it's just wild to see people come in and just like, is it because everyone's just kind of coming out of their, coming out of their caves. And as far as the question about whether they're coming back in the fall, my hunch is they will, but it might be a little bit delayed. No one has an official word on that yet. We've got a new vice chancellor that all the Sewanee business owners were able to meet, kind of do a meet and greet this last week. We of course asked that question. It's non-committal answer, although it really seemed that they want to have students back this semester, maybe not for the whole semester, but for a part of it.
And I have another question, and then we'll kind of close out. We're near the end. This is from Mary. What has it been like in terms of changed menus? Have you had to narrow down? This is a great one. You had to narrow down your menu, and has it affected your offerings? And this is actually an inside the weeds question. Why do you decide to offer what you offer, and what do you decide to let go?
Yeah, well, that's a multifaceted question. One of them is based on what else is going on in the rest of the world. For example, this was the very first day in the history of Shenanigans that you could not get a cheeseburger. You cannot get a cheeseburger at Shenanigans today because there is no ground beef. Well, there is ground beef, but it now costs $9 a pound when a few weeks ago it cost $2.50 a pound. So does anyone want to buy a $25 hamburger at Shenanigans? I don't think so. So as far like the coronavirus affecting the supply chain and all of that is really only just beginning. So we've had, but anyways, that's not necessarily what affects what we're putting on our menu. But typically we'll have a whole bunch of soups. We'll have a whole bunch of the deli case filled up with quiches and different cold salads and whatnot. And when your business goes down to 10%, you have to just start making decisions on, what you're going to have and what you're not going to have. And at a certain point, we just said, all right, we're just going to do pizzas and burgers and that's it. And then once we realized, once we were going to reopen a little bit and that there was going to be a little bit of traction there, we just kind of, put some more things in there. But yeah, you definitely have to think of what is best to be able to do in a takeout situation. But again, most of our menu is fast casual kind of stuff anyway. So, if someone calls and wants a patty melt or a spicy turkey melt, we should be able to swing that. I will say this though, we've really been trying to concentrate more on family style takeout meals so that we can encourage people to just pick up, food for their whole entire family, take it out. And we have a really talented crew in the kitchen right now that's coming up with really great specials. So in that sense, it's kind of been interesting because we've been able to experiment a lot with more things that a place like Shenanigans just kind of wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So that's been kind of fun. I'm not sure I'm answering your caller's question, but every question that I get about Shenanigans now is like, well, it's just day by day. Like if nobody comes in, then we're not going to make a soup. if nobody calls in for this thing, then we can't have this. So like we don't have avocados like for now because they're expensive all the time, but they go bad quickly. And if we're not doing very much business, then we can't go through enough, avocados. Anyways, again, I'm rambling. But yes, we do make decisions based on what we're gonna have on the menu, and it's more of a day to day thing on what we're doing there. And we've been using a lot more social media, Instagram and our new online ordering thing to be able to just be way more controlled and intentional on that, rather than just the whole free for all that shenanigans is.
And this is actually a great question. The end, I think, and I'll modify it a little bit. Monica says, "I live in Atlanta. I'm a Swanee grad. I want to support shenanigans. Can I send a check? Do I go online to give a donation? Can I buy a gift certificate? What is the best way to financially support you from afar in this time?" And then I think if you want to go on that, and then say how we can support you in person too, and we'll close out with that.
Wow. Well, I will just, say a huge gracious thanks to that. We are in the trenches, and really, we've stayed open as a um, as a responsibility to feed the community and to continue to pay our employees. We've obviously had every opportunity and pressure to close on many points, but have decided not to, based on those two premises. Um, to help shenanigans, yeah, buying a gift certificate online is a really great way to help. There's that Swanee Fund that I spoke to you about a little bit earlier, and I can send you the link to that. And if someone just wants to donate and have it go to the Swanee Fund, basically the way that works is all the Swanee businesses, uh, after a 2 or 3 week period of time, they'll put in like, this is what, we really need some extra money to get us around the corner on this particular thing, whether it be an electric bill or something that we need to, the screens that we need to buy or something like that. That Swanee Fund is kind of the best way to do that. I know it's not like directly pointed at shenanigans, but I'm happy with it being that way, because all the Swanee businesses have really come together in a really cool way throughout this. And if we really need something, we'll ask for it through that fund. And I'll send you the link to send on to your caller. And please extend my absolute gracious thanks to whoever that is. And we are going to make it through as shenanigans, and we will have a pint on the porch together.
Yes, exactly. Well, all throughout my social media, it says, "Thank you, Bill." And so, thank you, Bill. Thank you, shenanigans. You mean so much, and we're going to fight for you. So know that, God willing, if on the 5th of January 2021, I think I take the oath of office and defend my people and my community. Bill Elder, you're on the list. Shenanigans is on the list. I'm going to fight for y'all. Yeah, please come up, and we will take on DC together. So I really appreciate you being here, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. And I know we'll have an event at Shenanigans this fall.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. You're doing a great job, and really am proud of you for standing up to this Desjardins fella. He's got
I appreciate it. Thank you, Bill. Thank you. That was Bill Elder. Shenanigans is an institution that is venerable. I think hopefully, that I'm doing a small business spotlight for next 168 days. We've already started. I'm lifting up a small business in every community in my congressional district, and paying for advertising to ensure that the community knows that these businesses are sustained by them. It's not by the government. The government's only helping them a tad bit. It's sustained by revenue and us participating in the economic life of our community. Don't go to Sonic. Don't go to McDonald's. They'll be fine. Honestly, they'll be fine. Go to these small restaurants. Go to these small vendors. Go to these folks that have lifted up our community. And we're going to do as much as we can in the revenue we receive to invest it in our own communities. On that note, I need your help. I need your help financially. My opponent is sustained by rich lobbyists. He's sustained by wealthy men in silk suits, CEOs of healthcare companies that screw over Tennessee families. I am sustained by you and your family. Throughout the entirety of this campaign, the average donation, and this is everything that's coming in the mail, the average donation is $27.11. Can you imagine that? We're going to raise enough money to win an historic election, to bring generational change to Tennessee and America on the resources of working women and men across the state of Tennessee. It doesn't feed my mouth. It feeds this movement and this organization that is stretching throughout this state. People are excited. They're excited not because of me. They're excited because they know in our movement that something's happening in Tennessee. They can sense it in their bones. You're not alone. You're not alone if you're excited. Your neighbors feel it too. The best way you can support us is go to ChristopherHale.com, sign up, make a monthly contribution. We have, I think, over several hundred people giving monthly contributions of $5, whatever it might be. You can give more, but it sustains us and it makes us do what we can do to win this election in the next 5.5 months. If you want to sign, we reloaded on them. Go to ChristopherHale.com/Hale. Yes. A sign's really interesting. What it is it is giving you permission to support me and your neighbors permission to support me as well. Because what it's saying is they're not alone. I want thousands of signs dotting Tennessee highways, roads, farms, properties, and businesses across this state because I want people to know that they're not alone, that they are right, that our congressman has not delivered. Here's the final reality. Congressman Desjardins does not know you. You do not know him. He's never shown up. He's never fought for you in Washington. You paid him $1.7 million over a decade, and all he got you was a renamed post office. When this pandemic is over, we will remember who helped us and who did it. Congressman Desjardins didn't. I will. You know me. I know you. And if we haven't met yet, you know that you will meet me. And most importantly, you know this. I will fight like hell every day in Washington to make life better for you and your family. I need you. I need you on my team. I need you in this movement. So if you feel the energy I do, if you feel the urgency I do, if you feel the love of home and country that I do, I ask you to join me tonight. Go to ChristopherHale.com. Join me in this journey as we make of this special state something all the more special. I'll see you on the road. Thank you so much.